we'll see what happens today. It should be pretty easy. Angie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
It's good to see you on here.
It's always good to see you on here. Thank you for inviting me again.
Surprise! It's an invite. It's a standing invite. You know, everybody's on the show.
I expect a recurring invite on this every Tuesday.
Every guest gets a recurring invite. So Amybeth, just keep the link. Join us.
I'll just jump in whenever I feel like it.
That's right. Well, let's get it started. Here we go.
Welcome to the CXR channel, our premier podcast for talent acquisition and talent management. Listen in as the CXR community discusses a wide range of topics focused on attracting, engaging, and retaining the best talent. We're glad you're here.
I feel like if we could just keep that music going through the whole thing and we just have a little bit of background. So welcome listeners to CXR Podcast. I'm Chris Hoyt, president of Career Crossroads. I am happy that you have tuned in for this episode or that you're listening live while you are out and about or on your treadmill or your bike or just working away at your desk. If you are joining us live on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, I think even our website now at cxr.work/podcast, you can drop a note to us in the text. Just say hello, share your social or professional profile with us. We'll make sure to connect with you directly. Also, you can drop in any questions that you might have for our guests, and we'll see if we can get those addressed over the course of this roughly 20-minute show. Now, if you didn't join us last week, I'm not mad about it, but you did miss on the pleasure of connecting with Angie Veros, who is founder, CEO, and sourcing sorceress. Now, if you missed it, the episode is obviously up on the site, but I want to let you know that here at CXR, we just keep raising the bar. And we're going from a sourcing sorceress to a research goddess. I'm pumped to welcome Amybeth Quinn to the show. Amybeth, how are you?
Hey, Chris. It's nice to see you again.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
Let's do a close-up. There we go. It's a little bit better. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining the show.
You too. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Amybeth Quinn, maybe give us what I like to ask for an escalator pitch. So give us the escalator pitch of who Amybeth Quinn is and why we should maybe be tuned in or stay tuned in to what you have to say today.
Sure. So I am the director for global talent sourcing at ServiceNow. I am actually coming up in a couple of months on 20 years in talent acquisition. Which just is unbelievable to me that I've been in this world for so long. I have, you name it, I've done it when it comes to talent acquisition. I've been a full cycle recruiter. I've been a researcher. I've been a sourcer. I used to be the editor for SourceCon. I was the OG editor, the original editor for SourceCon. So I've been around the block in talent acquisition. I always come back to sourcing. I always come back to that because it's my first love. So here I am living the dream at ServiceNow, running a global team here.
I love that. I love it. And I'm glad you're here living the dream with us. I think that's great. So I do want to welcome, we've got a guest in the green room. If you were on early, you saw her. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Angie.
Hi,
Hello.
Angie.
Hi, Amybeth. It's so good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Good stuff. So Amybeth, so the topic today, and we invite Angie in here because Angie, if you were on the show last week, or Angie, maybe for those who maybe missed the show, I might be a little bit mad about it, but why don't you share just really quickly, just give us kind of a quick rundown of who you are and what your organization does.
So thank you, Chris. So I'm coming up on 20 years, just under Amybeth. So I've been in the business for about 17 years, and sourcing is an area that I absolutely love. And what we do at VIA is we help companies when they're looking to scale. So we help partner with them and help them with their sourcing needs. So that's my story. And for those of you who missed it last week, catch it on cxr.works/podcast.
That's pretty good. Thanks for the promo. We love that. The show is literally just us connecting with people that we love and talking about stuff we just want to talk about. So if anybody's expecting any fancier production than this is it. This is what you get. So look, Amybeth, you joined our sourcing meeting about a week ago, right? And we had about 40 sourcers, researchers, and I think sourcing leaders that were on, and you presented on the topic of career pathing for sourcing professionals. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate because you know where I stand on this, right? We've known each other a long time, but I want to ask this question for the folks who may not know. Don't sourcers just get promoted to be recruiters? Why do sourcers need a career path?
Well, I guess, if you think back on the history of, how talent sourcing came about, this all used to be one role. It used to be a headhunter. And over the years, headhunting to hire people has become more and more complex. So the complexity is what really caused channel specialties to break out from the end-to-end hiring process. You've got specialties like employer branding and recruitment marketing. You've got specialties like university and campus recruiting. You've got specialties like talent insights and research. And of course, you have talent sourcing, which focuses on the top of the funnel. I like to tell people that my team looks for people who don't know yet that they want to work here. And it's an important part of the hiring process because not everybody is going to see your job advertisement. Not everybody is going to be actively looking for a new opportunity. Not everybody knows that they can be happier in another place. And that's why talent sourcing has become important and has grown in importance, I would say, even in the last few years, to capture attention of people who may not be tied to your brand, to your company, or may not be actively looking for their next opportunity.
Interesting. So you talked a little bit about, in your escalator pitch, you gave us a little bit of history on sort of where you've been, but can you kind of walk us through that path with just a little bit more detail? And Angie, you're next, because I definitely want to ask for you to share sort of your path. Because also you're both in the same channel sort of interest in the business, right? Both in that sourcing and search and lead gen piece, but you got a different path to get there.
I studied exercise and sports science in college. So, clearly that was a path directly into talent sourcing.
Easily.
I have my wonderful sister-in-law, Christy, to thank for me being here. She called me up one day when I was living in Florida, and she said, "Hey, I know you like computers." So that was really the start of the whole conversation. She was working for an agency at that time, and they had an internet research position open. So knowing that I enjoyed doing stuff on computers, she called me up and said, "Why don't you come up and interview for this role and visit me and your brother for a long weekend?" So, me being an adventurous person, I was like, okay. I went from Florida up to Ohio and interviewed for the position and got it. And that started the journey. I fell in love with research. I worked in agencies for about 5 years before I took my first corporate opportunity. Along the way, I had a really great collection of people that mentored me throughout my career. And I remember one conversation with Joanna Clark. She had come to Seattle. Joanna and I worked together at AT&T. We went to dinner one night, and she encouraged me to, spread my wings and try full cycle recruiting. I poo-pooed that. I was like, I like sourcing. I don't want to be a full cycle recruiter. But she encouraged me. She said, in order for you to truly understand what you love, you need to try other things. So I did full cycle recruitment in a couple of different companies, and I was good at it. I won't say I was the most awesome recruiter. I was good enough at it, but it really helped me to solidify my love of the research and the talent sourcing component of end-to-end hiring. So that was really important to me, was having that encouragement from somebody to, stretch out of my comfort zone and, just to understand what I really loved and enjoyed.
Oh, I love that. So not a direct path outside of the whole sports piece, but
no.
So Angie, you have a nearly identical story, don't you?
Well, kind of, except not the sports path. I actually was a stockbroker before I fell into recruitment, and I fell into it because after September 11th, it was difficult to find a job in the financial sector. And so my recruiter actually said, well, why don't you just become a recruiter? You know the financial piece, and we're a financial services firm, so come and recruit. And I think, to Amybeth's point, I enjoyed the recruitment, but what I really liked was the research. So it was hard for me to go out and get jobs from clients. And so the senior recruiters, the people that have been there for a really long time, were the ones that were managing the client relationships, but they couldn't find the candidates. So I said, look, I'll find the candidates and then you guys manage the relationships. And then it just got me into sourcing and research and looking for people. And I mean, that's the piece that I love. I love doing that. And I worked for Amybeth on her sourcing and research team at one point, and it was the most amazing experience that I've ever had. So Amybeth, I learned so much from you, and it was an absolute pleasure working for you. And I can't thank you enough for everything that I learned.
Aw. $20 coming your way.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Advice for $20.
$20. I'll say some nice things about you, Chris. $20.
So I feel like Lucy in the booth, right? 5 cents for you get a little psychiatric advice. So
no, I've never met such a passionate leader for the love of the game, and that's really Amybeth. She is so passionate and such an amazing leader, an amazing mentor. And Chris did not ask me to come here and say these things, but I haven't talked to you in such a long time, and I mean it. It's been a long time since we spoke, and it's the things that she has built in previous organizations and continues to build is something that's truly unique and amazing. So my hat off to you, ABQ.
Nice. Well, look, so it's a great segue. So we talk about things that Amybeth likes to build. So Amybeth, why don't you talk us through, because part of the reason we said, oh my gosh, you got to get you on the show, right? It only took us 15 minutes to get to the point, but the idea is that like you have begun this work that really addresses career pathing for sourcing professionals, right? And it might not be exactly what some people or most people, I would think. Do you want to kind of talk us through it? And I think if you've got I think you got a slide or something, just let me know when you want me to throw it up there, but maybe talk us through some of this.
Yeah, it's fun to look at the path and kind of how it's evolved. I mean, yeah, go for it. Toss that up there. Let's take a look at it. There's my career path on the bottom. It's kind of messy, but I mean, that's the whole idea of enjoying the journey, right? The journey can be incredibly messy, but that's how you gain experiences and wisdom. I can't remember who shared the post on LinkedIn a few months ago, but it was, talked about, length of time in a job, versus impact. And I commented on this and said, this is not about experience. It is truly about experiences. And the only way to get experiences is to try different things. To the comment I made earlier about my conversation with Joanna, I appreciate that so much, because I would have stayed in my comfort zone. And, I probably still would have been, doing something in sourcing, but it really did help solidify that that's where I wanted to be. That's actually something that my team at ServiceNow, we drive hard across the organization is think about what you want to do. Nobody's going to care about your career path as much as you do. And your managers will support you, or I should say good managers will support you and help to enable, your growth and however you choose to design your career path. But you have to take ownership of it and make those decisions for yourself. So, one of the things that's important to me is making sure that however people want to grow, we can support that and facilitate it through good foundational skills building. For sourcing, I think there's a lot of skills that are similar to, full cycle recruitment. But there's also stuff that's very different. There's a passion in good talent sourcers for the top of the funnel work. There's a passion for information discovery and creative approaches to grabbing somebody's attention and being able to talk to candidates about opportunities that they might not have been thinking about. There's different skills that are going to make people successful in those types of roles.
So what does it look like when you're talking about sharing how to address career pathing for sourcers and expectations? Is it just telling them that look, I'm going to throw some spaghetti on the floor and this might be your career path and that's okay? Or is there a little more to that methodology?
I think at the foundation of it is understanding what is different between full cycle recruitment and talent sourcing. This is something that, whether you are hiring talent sourcers or whether you are looking for a role in talent sourcing, these are questions that should be asked in the interview process. If you're hiring for talent sourcers, you got to make sure you understand what you're going to be asking those people to do and what is different about those asks from full cycle recruiters on the team. If you're looking for a role in talent sourcing, it's important to ask the person that you're interviewing with, how does your company define talent sourcing? Talent sourcing in a lot of companies is a little bit more heavy on the research side of things and may not involve candidate engagement. Whereas other companies, may have talent sourcers doing engagement up to, the point of making offer decisions. If you don't understand how a company defines talent sourcing before joining it, and it's not in alignment with the things that you love, it's going to be a mismatch. So I think that's the foundation is understanding how that role is defined and does it match with what you want to do.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Amybeth. So I'll pivot a little bit to Angie, because last week, Angie, we talked a little bit about sort of this, I don't want to steal your thunder, but sort of the same thing about letting people do the work they're happy about, most happy about, excited about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, we do it a little differently where we have people that just source, no engagement. They just find people. And that's the research piece that I think ABQ is talking about. And it's just a different path. People like to sit at their desks 8 hours a day, and just look for people and dig. And if it were up to me, I would do that all day long. I love to source and I love to find people. And then the engagement piece is a little different, right? You've got people who are passionate about being creative and creating message techniques so that they can reach out to candidates. And I like to do that, but I love to just go in and create a Boolean string. I know that sounds really nerdy, but I love to just research and find out where I can find the people, to your point, ABQ, that don't know yet that they want to be found, right? So that's exactly, everybody does it differently.
Yeah. Good stuff. So what's next with this, Amybeth? Like you've set the stage sort of with your team, and now sort of throughout the space a little bit in terms of like chase what makes you happy, right? I'm just going to summarize. So sorry, but chase what makes you happy, experiment, right? It's okay to step outside of your comfort zone, as hard as that may be, and as many years as it may take to convince someone. They should step outside their space, because they can always step back in, but they may find something new, or it may just reinforce the fact that they were doing what they truly were meant to be. Mm-hmm. So what's next with this piece?
That's a good question. I mean, each person's journey is going to look very different. And to your point, like sometimes it's going to take a lot longer to get to that point where you really and truly know what you love doing. So I'm thinking back to the first SourceCon I actually got to speak at and talk about the role of internet research. And when I was a kid, I enjoyed reading the Choose Your Own Adventure books. If anybody doesn't remember those,
I loved those. Were my favorite.
They were awesome. For anybody that isn't familiar with those books, they are it's a series of like little short stories. Each book, you read up to a certain point, and then you have to choose a path, and you turn to a specific page in the book and continue your path. I always liked reading those books in reverse. I wanted to find the ending that I wanted, and I would reverse engineer how to get to that. So I think that's part of why I really enjoy research and talent sourcing, is because I'm looking for that that best ending, and trying to figure out how to get there. But that's really each person's career journey. You have to choose your own adventure. You can't just follow the path that you think others expect you to be on, or that the rest of your team or your colleagues are on. You have to think seriously about what is going to make you happy, what you enjoy doing most in your job. Understanding along the way, there's parts of every job that are going to be painfully boring, or just a time suck. But what can you tolerate? What won't you tolerate? But each person's on a choose your own adventure journey, in my opinion.
Well, I think I'll ask Angie the same. Like, Angie, what would you tell? Well, you have a great story, I think, that really deserves a call out of hiring a barista. I don't know that Amybeth caught a lot. Can you give us sort of the short version of how you hired a barista to be a sourcer, a researcher for you?
Yes. So I was sitting at a hotel cafe about a year ago, and I brought my laptop with me, and I was doing some work, and the server, he was very polite. I would go there often, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week sometimes. And he asked me one day, in English, what are you doing? Because I'm in Greece. What are you doing? And I told him, this is what I do. I'm looking for people. I just explained to him what I was doing. And he said, oh, that's interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more? And so I just told him a little bit more. And then the next day he came back, he brought me my coffee, he remembered. And long story short, I gave him my card and I said, look, if you're looking for a job and I can help in any way, please let me know, because I can connect you with the right people. But if you're looking to learn a little bit more about what we do, I'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. And so he actually sent me an email later that day and wanted to learn more. And I told him, this is what we do. We research, we look for people, and this is how we do it. And we talk about, Boolean, and we talk about the different tools. And a year later, so I hired him, and had no experience, educated with a degree, spoke very well English. And a year later, he sends a note on our company Slack and says, so here's how the story goes. A year ago, I was serving Angie a double Greek coffee, no sugar. And now I'm here sourcing for, gameplay engineers and, financial analysts, or whatever it was that he said. And so I think that the mindset to become a researcher or a sourcer, you don't have to have a certain background, to Amy Beth's experience and my experience. I was a broker. I just knew how to, dial for dollars. And he did it. He was curious and he wanted to research, and he learned and he went through training. And I think it makes sense, especially in today's world with the talent being so scarce or so difficult to find in this field. If you find good people that are curious and willing to learn, take a chance on them, and you'll get a Daniel. That's his name.
Shout out to Daniel.
There you go.
I think so. What I take away from both of you in the story, and thanks for sharing that again, Angie. Sure. It really is about, not just being comfortable to take risks, but also having people in your corner. So you're talking about having a future leader or a current leader in both of your stories, or even a colleague. I think Amybeth, you mentioned that as well, who is there for you. So not just to listen sometimes, but to push you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and then support you in that move. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's also important, as a quick call out, just to bring us all the way back, is that if you are a sourcer or a researcher in your role and you're looking at the corporate org chart, and you're wondering what's my next move, it's probably not directly above you on the org chart, right? May not even be on that org chart, might still be at the organization, but might be somewhere else entirely. So I think you got to open up your eyes a little bit and maybe get out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
That's why those foundational skills building is so important, because those are the skills that will be portable if you choose to go into talent insights, or you want to get into HR, or if you want to go a completely different direction and get into like a product role or into a finance role. Exactly. Or like sales enablement was an example I used a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of overlap in skill area between sales enablement and research. I mean, the competitive intelligence piece alone. But those foundational skills are important to exercise, and those can sometimes be the boring components of it. One of the things that we focus on my team is operational rigor, because regardless of what type of a career path you choose for yourself, being able to being a good time management, individual, like being able to manage your calendar, being able to, show your work, reporting, documentation, that's all important stuff. It's some of the most boring parts of most roles, but it's such a portable skill set regardless of what career path you choose for yourself.
Yep, I'd agree with that completely. Well, I thank you both for your time today. A couple of quick things that I want to tell everybody about really quickly before we head out. Upcoming, so on May 5th, we're going to pull together about 100 TA leaders for our spring leadership meeting. Now, we've got a special surprise guest coming to delight our attendees and tackle the topic of transformation. Additionally, we have a powerhouse panel of TA leaders arranged. They are the heads of talent from Ford Motor Company, Thermo Fisher, and Roche, and they're going to tackle that same topic, transformation within TA. May 11th, we are welcoming Athena Karp. She is the CEO and founder of HiredScore, and she's going to walk our members through what's new at HiredScore and, of course, what's ahead in one of our what we're calling CXR Solutions Spotlights. And, of course, you will not want to miss the members and alumni meeting coming up. That means if you have ever been a CXR member or you are a current CXR member, this meeting is open to you. It's coming up on May 19th, and we're actually leaning all the way in on transparency in TA. Now, Jerry's working on a project. I would have let him do the promo for this bit, but he's got a 2-part article. You can go to cxr.works, scroll all the way to the bottom. You can just head to cxr.works/headlines to see it. Really great segments on taking a stand on transparency in recruiting and the movement so far on pay transparency and what he thinks is ahead. Now, within both of those, there is a survey that anybody can take that's asking about what elements of recruiting needs more transparency. So it's super easy. So regardless of what level you are at or what field or division of recruiting that you may be in, I'd really encourage you to check that out. Drop your thoughts in on that one question survey. Again, all of these are over at cxr.works/events or in the blog section. Now, I want to call something out. We do this new CXR lecture series. We bring a monthly guest in, and they talk about topics that our leaders have said are hot developmental issues or need more attention with their teams, right? So last week, we did Overcoming Adversity, and we had Bruce Hood in. Fantastic session. But there was sort of an interesting piece in there. Amybeth, I don't know, did you happen to catch this? I don't know that you were on that particular piece that we did. Were you on it?
No.
Okay, so this is new. Don't worry, it's in the library. You can watch it. But there was a great reminder in there that we all have to sort of take a moment and breathe. So I want to ask each of you, it's hectic, it's crazy. We're busier than we have ever been. You can't deny it. I want to ask each of you what you do to relax. How do you unwind a little bit? Angie, why don't you go first? Do you have a method or a way to sort of just remind yourself to breathe?
So I do. I go for a walk every morning. If I don't go for a walk in the morning and just at least get that in, because I sit a lot of hours, it's hard and it's a release for me. On my watch alerts me every 50 minutes that I need to get up and I need to move and I need to just take a moment back. So I just do that. I remember listening to someone talk about breathing exercises, take 2 deep breaths in, deep, and then let them go. And so I catch myself from time to time doing that throughout the day. And it does make a difference because it is really busy and really hectic. So that's how I try to do it. And I try not to work too late and try to take a little bit of time, to really just capture the moment because it is crazy busy. So I try breathing exercises. They work.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, in fact, that's one of the session, the lecture series we did. That was an interesting exercise that he walked us through. It was kind of fun. Amybeth, what do you do? You play with the dog? Do you breathe? Do you go for a walk? What do you do to stay sane?
Well, my husband and I just relocated to a pretty rural part of the eastern part of the U.S. And we have a lake on the property. I've discovered that we have a few pretty large fish in that lake. And for whatever reason, I enjoy watching them swim around the lake. So I'll take a walk out there and, watch different things that are happening in the lake. There's some turtles in there and bullfrogs, the fish swimming around. It's calming to me just to see nature and its beauty and natural element. Another good thing for me is talking to my husband. I have an incredibly supportive husband who, he will listen. If I need to vent, he'll help me problem solve things. If I'm, going through some challenges, and, having a person in your life that will give you that time and lend a listening ear is so invaluable. So I'm very thankful to have him.
I love that. I love it. Well, you are very, very fortunate, very lucky to have a partner like that. So both of those are mine, really. So it's funny that you mentioned that, the breathing exercise, right, Angie, and then a bit of that nature. I've been a Headspace user for years, right? So that mindful meditation, we actually gave away 25 licenses for CXR's 25th birthday. Anniversary, excuse me, not birthday. I guess it would be birthday. But we just believe in it. I've been doing it on and off for maybe 5 years, and it's just been a huge boon for me. So nice space. But what I want to do is call out, I know both of you know this person, Heather Bussing. Yes?
Breathe.
We're nodding. Yes. Lawyer, photographer, all around really good person. We're going to take a page directly from her book today. We're going to close out with a reminder that no matter what we're doing, we need to remember to just stop. There it is. You saw it. Just stop and breathe. So whatever you're doing, if it's safe, try to sit still, take some deep breaths, and enjoy these 30 seconds on the beach with us.
Thanks for listening to the CXR channel. Please subscribe to CXR on your favorite podcast resource and leave us a review while you're at it. Learn more about CXR at our website, cxr.works, facebook.com and twitter.com/careercrossroads, and on Instagram @careerxroads. We'll catch you next time.